from Zade Comics, the writer and co-creator of Magic Hop, which is live now on Indiegogo, and just one half of the two best-looking brothers in all of comics. And today we're back with an episode of Comics Greats with our two guests, the lovely Carla and John, working on the Grim Reaper. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us a lot, Phil.
Thank you.
Yeah,
really happy to be here with you today.
Yeah, you're doing this awesome campaign on Indiegogo. I just found out about you guys. I can't remember whose stream you're on. Maybe Arch City. I'm not sure, but yeah. And then
quite a few,
yeah. That's good. I mean, you got to get around there. And I just started doing the streaming, like promoting other comics because so many people in the community have done that for me. So I know. Some of my buddies reached out to you and was like, hey, come on Phil's stream. And so here you guys are. Thanks for coming on.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having us. Yeah, for sure. This has been probably the most helpful thing so far is being live streams. Definitely where most of the traffic for the campaign has come from is from all of that. And it's great that, we have this community of writers and of artists that help each other out so well,
Yeah,
really,
that's amazing.
Yeah, really happy with all of it. And we wouldn't be where we are without you guys. For sure. We have, when we first launched the campaign, it was a very uncertain thing because we really had no audience, and you guys kind of took us in and just gave it a chance, and so you won't regret it for sure.
Yeah, it's the community is great. It's like a big family. I want to say, though, especially the creators aspect. We all want to help each other out, lift each other up. And that's what we're here for, creating awesome stuff and watching, our buddies succeed as well. We got Tinfoil Hat Nick in the chat. Hail Zade Comics, hail the Grim Reaper, hail Tinfoil Nick.
Nick.
Yeah, Nick's awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about you guys. You guys are a power couple putting this book together. What are kind of your backgrounds, and have you guys done any comics before this?
Well, as you know, or maybe not, I am the artist of the Green Reaper. And this is our very first crowdfunded campaign. I've been working freelance for practically all my life, for many years, but I never have done a project for myself. So this is the first time I'm doing a project in collaboration with my husband. Because we are a husband and wife team. He's the right illustrator. This is the first time we're doing it, and we're so happy and so thankful because we never thought we would do this well, right?
Yeah, I mean it's insane. I've been a writer, but for a long time, but I have never really reached them. And we have a backer from Australia. To me that's just insane. You know what I mean? Like we're reaching people far and wide to places we never expected, and it's fantastic. It's really something special. As far as comics is concerned, my wife probably has a little bit more background because of her art. She's done manga for a while.
Oh yeah.
But me, I am very new to writing in a script type of storytelling. Kind of put it visually for the artist, for someone who can actually draw. Not like me to kind of give it life, you know what I mean? So, I usually wrote just short novels and for anthologies, little stories, short stories, scary horror stories, things of that nature. A lot of that will be reflected in the story for sure. But dialogue wise and all these things have to be so much more compressed and they have to be so much more told in such an efficient way. You know what I mean? Because of the visual nature of the storytelling that we're dealing with when we're doing comics.
Yeah, the narrative is so different.
Yeah, so even though we are pretty new at this, we're definitely passionate about it, and it shows in the quality of the work. We spend way too many hours polishing it, editing, rewriting things, and drawing, coloring, all these things. And I can see it at my own home because the artist that I work with lives with me. She's my wife, so I can see all the work that she puts into it for sure. It's fantastic, and it shows in the quality of it. It shows in how good it looks, and it will definitely show in the story.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I don't know, you guys might not know, but for my book Magic Hop, I'm the writer and my brother is the artist. So we have that we're really close, knowing him all my life and created the whole thing with him. So we have we're on the same wavelength in that mindset. And I think working with a spouse would be similar to that.
Yeah, it will definitely be. Definitely, you have, in a way, you have to marry. I mean, not literally, but you always have to somehow, have that relationship with your illustrator, because
But you took it so far.
right. A lot of times the illustrator kind of has to read your mind and know exactly what you are thinking, because sometimes you just don't quite express it the way you want, especially if you have that background for books than it is comics. But she's done an amazing job at, like I said, the story. I've always said is that the story kind of takes a lot of aspects from different genres, and they are combined in an organic way so that it doesn't feel forced.
Yeah.
That you have lighthearted moments, you have horror moments, so you have a lot of action, you have a lot of these things, and you have to somehow be able to change thematically. You know what I mean? How you present the story. I think she's done a fantastic job at doing that with the art. You know what I mean? You can see it in the colors. You can tell when it's a moment when it's a moment of horror, when it's a moment of narrative fun, or humor, all these things for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Carla, you're doing even the color work on this?
The colorist. That I had to learn a lot when working with the Green Reaper, because I've been drawing manga like all my life. I never did like Western style comics. So manga is not colored at all. I just did covers. But well, I had to study a lot in YouTube University. So yeah, that's how I learned. But I enjoy it so much. I love coloring. Now it's my favorite part of the process. I think there's no turning back now.
Yeah. Well, that's what a lot of these campaigns and just creating in general is a learning process for yourself. As creators, we're always learning.
Never ending process.
Right. Yeah. It's now we're this infinite sponge, and like you said, YouTube is a huge asset for learning new techniques in any medium. And I think that's great that, you're taking on coloring, because then it's less of a budget for you guys because you guys are doing all the work.
Right. That's why, like we always tell our backers, you guys are you're gonna be super spoiled. Everybody who's backing us is gonna be super spoiled, because not only is this our first campaign, but we want you to come back for what's coming next. You know what I mean? So we are definitely treating you with our best effort for sure. You know what I mean? Yes, it is a learning experience, and yes, we'll probably come back a lot stronger next time. But it is a flexible goal because of the budget, the thing that you mentioned. So if you back it, you get it, and then some. Because we really wanna treat our backers, to make them feel like how special they really are to us. This is our first project, and if you back in this project for the first time, it's gonna be really meaningful in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, because we don't have that much expenses with the coloring, with the art.
Yeah.
We are basically using everything for printing and fulfilling. So
Yeah.
that's why the goal is kind of low.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, let's get into the story, John. If you could give like a little pitch, what's the Grim Reaper about?
Absolutely. Yeah. The Grim Reaper delves into kind of the cosmic horror genre, popularized by people such as Stephen King, popularized by even people such as Dan Brown and Neil Gaiman. I think the story drives a lot of inspiration from such stories from the Vertigo comic runs, like the Sandman. Like even Ghost Rider to a certain extent. So if you like that type of storytelling where you're gonna have a lot of horror, but also a lot of cosmic elements and mysticism to it, such as the way that Alan Moore used to write a lot of the stories as well. So you will definitely get that too, but with a lot more fun and action. You know what I mean? And so that's definitely something that I wanted to do. I wanted to make it epic, but at the same time, I wanted the characters and the story to have some depth. Um, Basically, the plot line of the story is that we are taking on a journey along with a character that everybody knows from lore, from mythology, from all of this story of old stories, which is the Grim Reaper, right? He harvests souls, and he's the angel of death, and he for people's final moments. For the first time, we get to see his perspective of the story. We how he becomes the Grim Reaper, because we find out that the Grim Reaper in and of itself is not necessarily an entity or a cosmic being, but more of a title or a job that somebody can do. If you are a history buff, or if you like anything about history, then you probably remember the Red Baron, the famous World War I pilot that everybody thought because of the story has so many mythical elements to it. I wanted to pick characters from history, from actual history, that mysterious thing to their story. Like we're gonna see Dracula in the story. So you have all these stories that are based on reality, but because of the magnitude of their deeds and things like that, they get kind of they get kind of turned into legend and into myth in a way. You know what I mean? So we wanted to explore that. So Manfred, which is the Red Baron, that was his actual name, gets shot down like everybody knows and dies. So he gets a visit by the Angel of Death, and he gets offered a job. The Angel of Death wants to retire, and he wants to pass on the mantle to someone else. He is impressed by Manfred's fearlessness. He's impressed by the fact that he's the only person that he has come across ever in his life who's not afraid to die, who has embraced the fact that he's a soldier at war, so he is expected to die. Which is something very, you hear a lot of military people say this. I mean, this is what I do. And if I die, then so be it. And so he kind of has that attitude. So he's very impressed because he's the first. Because the cosmic law and the cosmic rules, it's that death is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced in this universe. And so he gets offered this job. So we take on the journey of how he becomes the Angel of Death, and the kind of things that he has to see along the way when he's interacting with humans, and of course how they fear death, and how they interact with it in on daily basis. We see a boxing match gone wrong and a person dies. We see a suicide attempt. We see a lot of these things, and how Manfred deals with them as the Grim Reaper now. Now, the main villain of the story, it's a group of scientists who are, traumatized by death, and they are really trying to find ways to bring people back from the grave, and explore if that's a possibility. They do so, and then we have this kind of Frankenstein moment when they actually revive someone, but it's just a botched job, and it's just a soulless corpse that comes back to life, and it's just is nothing but pure rage, and no feelings, no soul, nothing, no conscience. So the monster escapes the lab. He goes on this murder rampage. Now the Grim Reaper has to find him and stop him. He has to find and stop the scientist who also brought him back to life. And the Angel of Death also happens to have children, and his children kind of share some of his powers. They are also supernatural beings, kind of like this cosmic family. Like you think of the Eternals, or the Endless, or so many irritations that you have of these characters by many of the writers. But this time these characters represent that they're kind of there are anthropomorphic representations of aspects of the universe and of life. So the story has a lot of depth to it. But at the same time, we kind of put it in a universe that's still a comic book universe. So
Yeah.
campy moments, it has to have
Definitely.
lighthearted moments, and obviously a lot of action. So if you like any of that, for sure, give it a go. It's going to be a great read, and I'm sure the art speaks for itself, but there is a lot more to it for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it. How many pages is it going to be?
So so it's going to be 36 pages.
Okay.
We have a few spread pages as well, and then I forgot a thank you page, and also going to have a thank you page.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, this, like, hearing you talk about it speaks to me, because I'm a huge Alan Moore fan, Vertigo fan. I loved what he did with Swamp Thing. I'm literally wearing an Alan Moore Swamp Thing shirt right now.
Oh, that's it.
And so I love Etrigan and all those mystical characters in there. And Neil Gaiman's American Gods book.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
So, yeah, and I'm a huge mythology fan. And in a lot of my writing, I try to weave as much mythology in there, because it's one of my passions next to comic books. So this is like totally on track with what I'm into. And your description of it being like a Vertigo book, but with more action, like,
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like Neil Gaiman or Alan Moore with more action, that's really good. And you can see it in these pages. You have in the boxing scene, or in this scene here, lots of movement. lots of motion. It's really, really good. I'm really loving it. Yeah, and this character is. Will we see in the future maybe other iterations where it's someone else and not Manfred? You think that's a possibility?
Yes, we will. And at the same time, like I said, there are also going to be different looks that he's going to have.
Oh, cool.
Just in this book alone, and I want to really speak to this book because I feel like every single issue that we're writing for this story is going to stand on its own 2 feet. You know what I mean? I respect the readers that much that, you know what I mean, to know that every story has to be its own thing, have a beginning and have an end. But we have a cliffhanger in the end where we find out more about other supernatural beings that existed within this universe, and then eventually one of them, of course, will also take on the mantle moving forward. But yeah, the story in and of itself, this first issue of it will have a lot of elements that a lot of people are gonna like, especially if you're like I said into this cosmic horror genre.
Yeah.
Even I borrowed some inspiration from like everybody says, if you're gonna borrow from the best.
Sure.
So I definitely love the a lot of the Hellboy stories. I think that they encapsulate how horror should be told in comics because it's really hard to do.
Oh boy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, hell yeah. So you know what I mean? Because it's hard, and I had to talk to my wife about this. But her coming from manga, I think, was a huge advantage because manga characters show a lot of emotion.
Expression, right?
Yeah, expression.
Yeah.
They're very expressive.
Yeah.
More so than a lot of Western art, I would say. So it's a great combination of it, and I think that this was definitely the art form that I wanted to go for to tell this kind of story.
Yeah. All right. In the chat here, shout outs to True Comment, giving us the big hail. We got Hexbox in the chat. Master Ron.
How's it going?
Thanks, Nick. Thank you so much.
For us. And then there was a comment here about that pinup. So let's talk about this character here. Who's
Right.
that?
The sexy pinup.
So like I was saying, so story wise, the death has, in this story we see three of his children, right? And they are anthropomorphic representations of different ways in which people die and different ways in which people encounter their final moments, and they feed off that energy, and that's what makes them, and that is their essence. One of those characters is this one who represents.
This is Themis.
Yeah, the system is like I said, we're big in mythology here as well. So she represents kind of glamorous, desirable deaths. This is kind of what people strive for, and we all know that we're gonna die, no matter who you are, no matter what you try to do to avoid it. Eventually, it's gonna happen. So this is what everybody wants. So that's why we did it in such a way. The other characters that are representations of different ways in which people die also have traits to the way in which they are represented, that speak of what they are and how they behave.
Yeah, and Themis, in this case, that's the girl from the pinup. She's the beautiful, glamorous, desirable death. The death that everybody wants to have, the peaceful one, right? So
that's awesome.
Of course, has to be desirable, right?
Yeah. And a little bit of fan service as well,
Of course.
Of course.
Everybody likes to see some of that.
I love this background too.
Well, so they all live together in a very sinister house.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But
it's like in another dimension.
It is supposed to take place in another dimension, of course. Yeah, but
it's dark and creepy.
I think you did an amazing job with the backgrounds.
Yeah, this background, like with they have these, I don't know if these are bents or the pillars or like the raised edges of that, but this one's bent a little bit and it makes it like creepy.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if this might be a fireplace. The heat is bending the light around here, and it makes it look real creepy, and it gives that ambiance to this pinup.
Yeah.
Initially, the idea was to use a lot of candles. I wanted to use that kind of lighting, but then I decided to do something that could be like symmetric in the background to give like that center to the image. So I wanted to compose it that way, and I think it worked better. But I still want to do something with candles. So
sure. Got Death by Snoo Snoo in the chat here. Let's get a Futurama reference. And yeah, this is some uncolored stuff. These are, I'm assuming, the like Frankenstein-esque character who's reanimated. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, he's reanimated there, and of course he's just confused. He doesn't know what's happening. I think my take on the whole Frankenstein story, more than a monster than anything, he was just a child. He was born again pretty much, and he had the misfortune of being a little baby inside a huge monster's body. You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to convey that as well on this story. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't even have a soul. He's just kind of baby being born again, and he just sees this strange man operating on them and messing with him. So he's now, and he just, it's not to his own fault, but he just escapes. And I think there is a scene at the very end that my wife was actually coloring today, which is when Death actually confronts him. He's humbled. You know what I mean? This creature is humbled because he finally understands that he's in a place where he's not supposed to be. You know what I mean? So he doesn't put up much of a fight there, but he has done already a lot of damage. So it's really interesting how she also put the emotions into his face and all that.
That's cool. Now, does Death have any like specific magical powers that he shows throughout the book, like when he's actually either fighting or killing, like when he takes this monster's life? How is that conveyed through the art?
Well, there's a lot of powers that Death has, as well as weapons. I think one of my favorite, and my favorite because of the way that they drew it. It wasn't my favorite originally, but one of the favorite things that I've seen on how they have drawn it is teleportation. Man, this thing gets engulfed in this black smoke, and oh man, it's just beautiful the way it looks. That's one. That's by far my favorite power. But also he can just with the movement of your hand just take your soul. You know what I mean? But if he feels like you deserve a worse fate than that, he will use a lot of other things that he has in his arsenal to punish you. So that's where all the I guess the comparison for me in my head at least with the Ghost Rider comes into place. You know what I mean? So you know how he shows up for people who are impure or who are sinners, and he punishes them by I don't know, burning them with eternal fire and things like that. So you'll see some of that stuff as well.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, his look's so cool. The hat. Like that. And Carla, did you do all the lettering as well?
Yeah. I do everything.
Doing everything. John's got it easy over here. Just writes a script and sits back. I know how that is. That's okay. Yeah, this is looking great. Let's go through your tiers.
Sure.
And I saw that the book, you have this is just the standard book is $10.
Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome.
That's the standard book, and it also includes your name on the thank you page, of course. I gotta say the tiers above cascade down, except for the $15 and $20 one that I believe that's the only difference. We'll get to that later. So yeah, that's the price for the standard book for the printed copy with the PDF, and also your name on the thank you page. And by the way, your name on the thank you page is going to be on a cemetery, so you're going to get your own tombstone and stuff.
Cool. That's awesome. And this one is...
If you back $100 and more, then you have free shipping. Don't forget.
Yeah, by the way.
Cool. Nice. So this $15, the tombstone one, you get the digital copy.
Right.
And digital poster. Does this include the physical book, though?
No, that's the only one where we have the difference. This tombstone, and then we have tombstone plus book, which will
okay, perfect. Yeah. In $20, you get the digital and the physical book. You get the digital poster. Now, is this the digital poster here in this picture?
No, that's the cover.
That's the cover. Cool.
Yeah, the digital poster is there, but it's just in sketch form.
Okay.
I don't know. I think you scroll past it later, but it's at the very bottom.
But I want to do a new one.
Oh, well.
That will be a surprise.
I guess it's a surprise.
Cool. Yeah. No, I love surprises. We have something like that on our campaign too. Coffin. You get your name and the thank you pages, the PDF, the book, and the pinup. And is that sexy death pinup?
Yeah, that's that pinup.
Child of Death one with the butt. Nice butt.
Sure, with the butt, the one with the butt.
So that's $25. And I mean, look at how much you're getting for this campaign when you do your standard $25. Like a lot of comics get books are just $25 for the book. Now this thing is a 36-page book. You get two versions. You get the regular for this $25. You get the digital. You get the pinup as well, and your name on an awesome tombstone in the book. So you're getting a huge lot for the standard CG pricing, which I really dig.
Yeah, it's pretty affordable. It's pretty affordable.
Okay, and then you get a hand-drawn sketch for this one, $70. That's good. It's a good price.
Oh yeah, very good price for that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now how is that going to work? Is that just any sketch that Carla, whips up out of her head is going to go in the book?
No,
Or
the sketch
is going to go with the package, I should say.
Yeah, the sketch is going to include a character from the book.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have a tier a little bit further down where which includes a commission. So that is of your choosing. If you're backer, that will be of your choosing. But this one is going to be a character of the book.
Cool, like a sketch.
I mean, the handmade sketch, like, is a character of the book, as John said. But then, if you back the commission one, then you get anything you wish.
Yeah, that would be anything. I mean, anything. And we also have a drawing tier as well that some of our backers have also purchased, and and we have them in a lot of different things, huh?
Yeah.
There will be a bull in a battle with the Grim Reaper.
That's cool.
There will be a zombie. There will be they might even be a taxidermy animal head on the wall. It's looking great.
Very creative.
It's looking great.
That's fun. Yeah, that's this one, the cemetery one, where you could be a part of the book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Free shipping for that one, by the way. Because it's free shipping, I want to say this: it's been a nightmare to fix any tiers. I mean, especially once they're locked in because somebody has cleaned it. I gotta tell you, if you backed, or you are planning on backing the cemetery one, which is $100, please, obviously we will get in touch with you, touch bases with you, but because it will not ask you for your address, and there was no way for us to change it. You know what I mean? I apologize for that. I know we've been pretty good communication wise with every backer that we've had.
Yeah.
But if you're planning on backing that, just make sure to check your email, or maybe I could DM you on Twitter just for you to provide that information for us, because otherwise there will be no way for us to get it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I apologize for that, by the way. That was my mistake for sure. But we'll do better next time.
Yeah, it's literally, I had some similar things where I had to hide some tiers and make new ones.
Yeah.
All right, graveyard. Now this is the commission one, and they get to choose whatever. Carla's drawing it, whatever you want.
Right. That will include everything from above except for the drawing, because the drawing will be on the day of the death, which is all everything. But this one will include the commission. Yeah.
Yeah. As for the commission, like, that often when you buy a commission, you have to talk with the illustrator about the details. They're going to include the level of, the amount of time and work it takes.
Right.
So in this case, the commission will be like you have to expect like the same kind of work it has, like the pinup, the panels. It's
Yeah, it will look like that with the same coloring.
Yeah, and it's really cheap because I charge much more than that for a full color illustration.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it's very cheap.
No, you guys are, you're putting in the work here. It shows. And then the last one here, we got the Day of the Dead, which is, like you said, everything. Sketch, commission,
drawing.
Everything. Yeah. So that's great. And I love those tiers where you can get, the whole lot. And yeah, you guys are on your way. This is great. I'm glad we were able to do this. And just keep hustling. We have 4 days left.
We're on there. We're on that final little line. You back it before it goes out. It's this is your chance. We have until Monday, so this weekend will be for sure.
And how many days was your campaign for?
Excuse me.
How many days was your campaign for?
It was 40 days. 40 days, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. And did you extend already?
No, I have not. And we are also probably not going to extend. However, if we do reach the goal, we're going to go in demand. However, this is a flexible goal. So if you back it, you get it no matter what. No matter if we are at 900, 600, 100, we'll still fulfill the purchase for sure.
Yeah.
Right. That is awesome. Hail Simon Simpote in the chats.
Hey Sam.
Dropping in. Awesome CG
Right.
artist. He's working on a bunch of projects. So
Oh,
look
I've
out
seen
for
it.
him. Yeah.
Beautiful stuff, man. Beautiful stuff.
He's great. So I'm loving this storyline, this book, and you have a character very much like Hellboy, where you could just throw into a bunch of different situations anywhere, you know, and your character could be different people, which I love that aspect to it. When I'm designing a character, I have a character that's similar to that. You know, I was listening to a Mike Mignola interview, the creator of Hellboy, and he was like, Hellboy is my tool to just tell any story I want to.
I
to
love
fight
hearing
any
that.
monster.
I love hearing that. I love hearing that, you know, because I don't want to spoil too much, but in this story, you will encounter so many things that I thought would have done a great story by themselves.
Right.
But I'm like, no, this is short. You know what I mean? This is too short, or this is still not good enough, or whatever. But I can throw them in there, and they still feel organic. You know, like in later issues that I'm working on right now, you will see Rasputin, you will see Pandora from the Pandora's box, and all these things. Right? And I was like, I can do it, but a story will not stand on its own 2 feet. It is just about this thing. But I feel like if I bring him into this universe for this one character that I created, I can do so much fun stuff with them.
Yeah, that's I have in my next project. I have a character that's like that. He's a sorcerer from Merlin times,
right?
And he lives throughout time, so he's immortal. And I got a story with him where he's a pirate, like off the coast of Greece, and he's fighting sirens. Then I have another one where he's wandering Egypt and he fights Anubis.
Wonderful,
So it's that same aspect where you have one character that is a tool to tell all your favorite stories, and it's similar. They're short stories. I write short stories, but he's my favorite character because I could do whatever I want with him. So
whatever you want with them, and then at the same time you can also explore a lot of characters that you like. Like for this, I guess the whole theme of the Grim Reaper, the essence of it is all of these characters that I want to humanize a lot of characters that have become a myth. You know what I mean? That have become, sort of that have this mysticism about them, and I want to explore them more and find out the human element in them. You know, so that's why you will see a lot of you will see Greek titans in them, and how they are humanized, how they talk, and how they are brought down to our level, and I think that's pretty interesting. You know?
Yeah, no, that's super fun. I love this thing. Guys, if you're watching this live and you haven't backed already, check out the campaign. Like I said, 4 days left, and you don't have to worry about them not making the goal. We want them to, so they can go in demand. But either way, you're going to get this book when you back it. But that's a great thing about having a flexible goal. So check it out, back it. And if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to give a little shout out to my campaign, and then we'll wrap things up. Cool. Let's look at Magic Cop. Yeah, so this is my book. I think it's perfect for the time of year right now because it's Halloweeny and it deals with monsters and magic. But Magic Cop is kind of like the amalgamation of Miami Vice and that 80s TV genre with monsters, magic, kind of like Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween Town, stuff like that. It follows this Magic Cop character. His name's Iggy, and he comes from a long line of Magic Cops. So he has his magic wand passed down from generation to generation. And this follows his first case on the job as he works with his Wolfman partner who's on the verge of retirement. And they have to investigate the murder of a mermaid prostitute. So a lot goes on in the story, discovering how deep the rabbit hole goes, if you will. And there's a lot of skeletons in the city's closet mixed with a bunch of magical monsters. We have a sexy witch here named Helly who goes undercover as a prostitute. This beautiful Elliot Fernandez cover he did for our Ash Can, which has another short story in it, introducing you to the world. It's kind of like our trailer or our pilot issue to Magic Cop. And it's an 88-page, 4-chapter thick graphic novel that my brother and I are working on, and we're super excited to get it out to you. And I hope you guys check it out and back it. We have I think 9 days left, 8 days left with 81 backers. If we get to 100 backers, we're going to have a special stretch goal, a little postcard that we're going to send out to everybody that backs it. So get on that, people. John, Carla, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you a lot, too.
Yeah, it was fun, short, sweet, getting to know you guys and learning about this awesome book. I'm really excited for it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for giving us a chance and pitch this book, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem. Yeah, it was fun. Tell everybody where they could find you.
Absolutely. They can find us all on Twitter at Carla Tornielli. And then I am John Gallagher on Twitter. You can just type that. Or if you want to, I can give you the
It's in the bottom of the
name.
campaign.
And it's also, you can find all that information at the bottom of the campaign as well. So yeah, we're there. We're on Twitter. You can also email us. And of course, check out the Green Reaper. And if you can, back it up.
Yeah. Here, Hexbox says, I really think you guys should extend. It might give us a little more fulfillment time. Yeah, why you guys not want to extend?
Well, it's not that we don't want to, it's just that we are working pretty much on issue number 2 right now.
Okay.
But I guess we could see how that would play out. We will see. We will see. I'm not making any promises yet, but
Sure.
I will see. Like the main thing we were thinking about is just go in demand if he hits the goal, and then we'll still be able to fulfill the kind that most of the backers while it goes. But at the same time, I guess that you could extend and still be fulfilling people. It will be harder, but yeah.
Yeah, the good thing about that is you guys kind of came into like the stream scene late in your campaign. So
Yeah.
if you extend, what is that? You had 40 something days, and then you extend to 60. Then you'll have more time to get onto more streams that you guys haven't been on. And I know there's still quite a few that have good subs counts and good followings that would love to have you on. I could, send you some people's info for that. And then that's just going to give you more backers. You get fulfilled. You go into in demand.
Really cool. Thank you.
Yeah. I would appreciate it. We appreciate it for sure.
Because that's what we did. We were fortunate enough to, I think we fulfilled in 3 weeks, but then we extended anyways just to have that momentum carry, and then we're also going to go in demand. Our original campaign was 31 days, and then we extended to the full 60 days. So yeah, and then that ends next Saturday, and then we'll go in demand. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to do it, because it puts more eyes on your book. You could go around now that you have buddies and friends that could refer to you to other streams and stuff. And we could just, keep helping you out and pushing this book as far as it could go.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you all for your help and for your advice. Like I said, we just basically barely started on this and figuring a lot of things out still. But one thing's for sure, you're gonna be a happy boy or a happy girl if you back, or happy whatever you want to be.
Happy camper.
If you back this for sure, you're gonna be super spoiled with it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for everyone coming to watch. Thanks to John and Carla for sitting down and talking to me. If you guys are new to the channel, I do this weekly. Invite other creators on to talk about their book. So hit that notification button so you know when we're going live. Also, you need to hit that subscribe button and like this video so more people could see it and spread it around. Thanks for everyone for watching. Thanks again, guys, for coming on. And